this is application of integrals. So this is going to be more business applications, but more specifically formulas. These formulas will be given. So you will have a formula sheet. So formulas given. All right. So all the ones that have asterisks will be given. All right. So, and what I'm going to do is instead of going over what each one of these four is for, I'm going to just jump to how to use them. The first two are consumers surplus and producers surplus. So it's when you have more or produce more. And these are used for economics. The bottom, what is it? Four are the first two. The bottom four are for finance. So for consumer surplus, the d of x is the demand function. And the producer, the s of x, is the supply function. All right. And so now let's get to an example. And I think, if I remember correctly from working these, they're kind of, no, there's one is, and then they're skipped. Okay, so I may do example 1, then jump to example 3, and then go back to example 2. So for the first one, it says supplier, so this is going to be equal to your S of X. Because this says suppliers, portable hair dryers, so this is going to be your supply function. Okay. Is given by this function, and we want to know our producer's surplus. Okay, if the market price is set at 8 units, so this means that our equilibrium point is when our market price, so that means our P is $8. So then we need to know, so that means P bar is 8, so we need to know X bar. So we set our function equal to 8 and we solve for X. So we square both sides. It's not 60, it's 15. Okay, so X bar, P bar, which is our equilibrium point, will be 15.8. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to find our producer surplus. So you need to state the formula. Okay, so we want producer surplus. So that is that we want PS equal to P bar X bar minus the integral from 0 to X bar of S of X dx. So that's 8 times 15 minus the integral from 0 to 8 of the square root of 4 plus 4x dx. All right. So right here, we're going to let u equal 4 plus 4x. So then du equals 4 dx. So that's 1/4 du equals dx. If ub equals 8, then, that's xb, then ub equals 4 plus 4 times 8, so that's 36. If xa equals 0, then ua equals 4. So this becomes 8 times 15 is 120. The integral from 4 to 36, u to the 1/2 times 1/4 du. Now we integrate, and that should be a minus sign there. 120 minus 1/4 u to the 3/2 over 3/2. And we're going to evaluate that from 4 to 36. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you that 1/4, and that's going to be times 2/3. So this becomes 1/6. So that's 120 minus 1/6, and that's a 6, not a u. And that's going to be the square root of 36 cubed minus the square root of 4 cubed, which is going to be 120 minus 1/6. The square root of 36 is 6. Okay, now, actually, what I did is I wrote it like this. I did 120 minus 1/6, 36 to the 3/2 minus 4 to the 3/2, and I put that in my calculator. And what I came out with was 256 over 3, or 85.33 with a bar on it. So you could go through, and I could go through all this arithmetic, but it's wanting it rounded to 2 decimal places, so I just stuck it in my calculator. All right? And what I actually did is I got this answer, and then I hit the frac key to get this answer. So here I hit the frac key. And that's math. And the only reason I did that was if it wanted an exact answer. Sometimes WebAssign can be picky. So I'm going to go down here. So let's go ahead and do example 2. Okay, example 2 is asking for the present value. And so how do you know which present value you want? And it says it's compounded continuously, so you're going to want the income stream. So you're going to want this present value. So you're going to want the integral. So that's going to be the present value equals the integral from 0 to t of r of t e to the negative rt dt, where capital T is 19, R of T is 400,000, little r is the 0.1, okay? And so our present value equals the integral from 0 to 19, 400,000, e to the negative 0.1 t dt. So u equals negative 0.1 t. du equals negative 0.1 dt. So that's negative 10 du equals dt. X sub b equals 119. Then u of b equals negative 1.9. X of a equals 0. Then u of a equals 0. So this integral becomes from 0 to negative 1.9, 400,000 e to the u times negative 10 du. Which equals negative 400, it's not 400 now, e to the u between 0 and negative 1.9. And this 1 comes from the fact that e to the 0 equals 1. If you put that into your calculator, then what you get is 3401,725.523. Okay? Okay. Now, this one is asking for both consumer surplus and producer surplus. What it tells us is that this is d of x because this is the demand function. And that this is s of x because this is the supply function. Okay? So the first thing we have to do is find the equilibrium point. And in order to do that, we set these two equations equal to each other. So that's 132 minus x squared equals 36 plus 1/2 x squared. So I'm going to move the 36 to this side, and I'm going to move the x squared to that side. So when I do that, I get 96 equals 3/2 x squared. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2/3. And so what I get is I get 32 equals x squared. No, sorry. I get 64 equals x squared. Missed a line in my notes. So that tells me that x equals plus or minus 8. But we only want positive because we're talking about quantity. So we have 8 equals x. So that tells us that p equals 132 minus 8 squared. So p equals 68. So we have the point x bar, p bar equals to 868. So this tells us, now we can find the consumer surplus. So I'm going to just kind of separate this over here. the consumer surplus is CS equals the integral from 0 to x bar of d of x dx minus p bar x bar. Now, it may say x bar p bar, but remember that 2 times 3 equals 3 times 2, so it doesn't matter which order we multiply in. So this is the integral from 0 to 8 of 132 minus x squared dx minus, what is it, 68 times 8. So CS equals 132x minus x cubed over 3, evaluated between 0 and 8, minus 544. So consumer surplus equals 132 times 8 minus 8 cubed over 3 minus 544. Plugging that into our calculator, we get 341.33 with a bar over it. All right? I'm going to leave that where I can see it. So then our producer's surplus is x bar p minus from 0 to x bar sx dx, which equals 8 times 68 minus the integral from 0 to 8 of 36 minus, plus 1/2 x squared, which equals 544 minus bracket 36x plus 1/2 x cubed over 3 0 to 8, which equals 544 minus 36 times 8 minus 1/6 times 8 cubed. Plugging that into our calculator, we get 170, not 107, 170.6 with the bar over it. Okay? Now, for the next question, it's asking us to find the income stream. But what it gives us is it go ahead and it tells us the integral that it really wants us to use. So all you have to do for this question is to integrate it from 0 to 3, is to evaluate this integral, is to do this. It tells us everything it wants us to do. So all you have to do is calculate that. So you leave this alone, and you use substitution here. So if you have, I'm trying to skip. If x of a equals 0, then u of a equals 0. So this whole thing becomes 0 to negative 0.9, 53, 530,000 e to the u times negative 1 over 0.3 du minus 150,000. So that equals 530,123 over, put a negative sign, 0.3 e to the u between 0 and negative 0.9 minus 150,000. So this equals negative 530,123 over 0.3 e to the negative 0.9 minus 1, because e to the 0 is 1, minus 150,000 equals, plugging that into our calculator, we get 898,393.6011. Okay? Now, for the next three examples, we are going to use, now I'm deliberately scrolling up, we're going to use the bottom two, the last two examples, so the last two formulas on the page. All right, and so that's what we're going to use for the last three examples. All right, so for this next example, we want to find the amortization, so we want A equals MP over R e to the R capital T minus 1, where P is our payment of $110. M is we're making that payment per month. Our interest rate is 0.08, and we are going to pay that for 15 years. 12 times 110 over 0.08 e to the 0.08 times 15 minus 1. Now, the reason that these formulas are a little bit different from the formulas that you used in 1330 is that these have in order to generate these formulas, calculus was used. All right? And so when you plug this into your calculator, you get A equals 38281.92923. Now, how do you plug this into your calculator? Is you do parentheses 12 times 110 divided by 0.08, close parentheses, times e to your exponent. Now, sometimes it gives you your exponent, sometimes it doesn't. 0.08 times 15, close parentheses. Now, this means get out of your exponent, minus 1, close parentheses, enter. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my other color of ink so that when I come back to this, I'm in the correct color of ink. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the calculator and I'm going to show you. So you do parentheses 12 times 110 divided by 0.08. And if you watch the keystrokes, you can see what I'm entering. Parentheses, second e. Now it gave me my exponent, 0.08 times 15. Now I'm going to use the arrow key here to get me out of it, minus 1, close my parentheses and hit enter. And there's my answer. Now, go back and watch the video and you can watch me hit the keystrokes. All right, now I'm going to go back to my note ability. Yes, I've changed apps. That allows me to change colors. Okay, and there's your answer. Now I'm going to do another example. Okay. And it's going to be using the same formula. So M is in 1, P is 1500, R is 0.04, and capital T is going to be the answer of 210 minus 1994, which is 16. So capital T is 16. All right, and what you get is there. All right, now the last one is using present value. One minus e to the negative r capital T. So P is going to be $200, M is 12, R is 0.12, and capital T is 10. So PV equals 12 times 200 over 0.12 to the 1 minus e to the negative 0.12 to the 10. And so when you do this one, and again, you enter it in the same way, you just make sure you move your variables around to the way they go. And I will show you the calculator keystrokes again. And so what you get is you get 13976.11576. One of the things I like with this new app is I don't have to hit the undo. All right, so here's your calculator keystrokes. So you're going to do your 12 times 200 divided by 0.12, close that, times 1 minus second, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the second ln, and that'll put you up in your exponent, parentheses, the negative, the plus minus sign, 0.12 times 10, close parentheses, out of your exponent, close parentheses, then enter. Okay. Please let me know if you have any questions. Either email me or post them on the discussion board. All right. Thanks.